welcome to the Fantasy Golf Gods podcast. We are your host. I'm Rusty Miller, and this is Matt Jacobs. We're first podcast of the 2018 calendar year.
Yep, we're here.
We are. Golf is officially back for a long time. You excited?
I'm very excited. I wish it was a cut event.
What? Yeah, it kind of eases us back into it. It's not a full. It's only 34.
I think it's 34.
And it's called the Sentry Tournament Champions, so you had to have won last year to get an invite this year. So that's why the field's smaller, but it is real golf with real golfers. So I've been jonesing for it, so I'm ready.
We'll bet on it, see what happens.
Yes, we do.
I'm getting tired of the NBA and the NFL.
Oh, yeah, well. So, like I said, the Sentry Tournament of Champions. It's the first year for that name.
Yeah,
it was called the SBS last year, and then before that, the Hyundai Tournament of Champions for, 7, 8 years, something like that. So, long history here. This has been going on since the 70s, so this event has been around forever. It's been here at Kapalua for a while, and which means we're in Hawaii.
Yes, we are in Hawaii. They're going to have some decent weather over there in Hawaii. However, I just looked it up.
Unlike here in the Midwest.
Oh, yeah, what is it? I just looked at it. It's -8 degrees right now.
Yeah, so
That's a little cold.
Yeah, we film here in Indiana, and it's frigid on this
It's horrible.
week.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I wish we were in Hawaii playing golf.
Why anybody would ever choose to live in a state like this is beyond me.
Well, the hunting's pretty good.
The hunting is good.
All right, so gonna have to go low.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at that. The last 6-7 scores have been 22 under, 30 under, 21, 19, 16, 23, 24. Ernie Els holds the record at 31 under back in 03.
Okay, so lots of birdies.
There are going to be some birdies.
Tell us about the course at Kapalua. We played it forever, but there's a couple unique things that new viewers may not know about the course.
All right, so it is a par 73.
Which is probably the only one we play all year.
I was trying to think of another one, and I can't think of another one off the top of my head. I'm sure there's one out there. But par 73 from the championship tee is going to be just over 7,400 yards and some change. Back nine's a little unique. We have 2 par 5s and only 1 par 3.
And that's where you get the 74.
And the 73.
Yeah.
And the par 3 is only 164 yards on the back. So very gettable. Your par 5 is 555 and then 663. So 663 is going to be pretty intense. But if I remember right, 18 is downhill. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get a big drive on that. And that 663 is going to look a little bit less. Par 5 is on the front, 532. And look at 521.
That one on the front, the first one, I think it's a hole 5 I was looking at. And it was, it plays at a 4.3 strokes per hole.
Oh, so it's a birdie hole.
It's 67% of the players that played it last year birdied that hole. So
you got to birdie that hole to stay on pace.
So,
but we know that looking at the scores,
you're
going to have to birdie several of these.
And you may actually have some eagles. So that brings me to some of our our stats are going to be, obviously you're going to need to go low, so birdies are better, or DraftKings scoring is a great way to look at it. What we got into in the last part of the year where a lot of the scoring is really low is go to DraftKings scoring and look at that. But also, the unique thing here, it is kind of a resort course.
Yeah,
so
super wide
fairways are huge wide. I mean, I could probably even hit them. But something like 90% of the players hit the fairway last year.
Yeah, this one is going to be
ridiculously big.
Somebody like DJ or Rom or even Thomas, they can get up there and just belt the ball and not have to worry about it. I don't know that it's going to help them a lot because Jordan's going to be in the fairway. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jordan hit 90% fairways this week.
Which is pretty good for him.
Which is really good. But it's so wide that I don't know that the Bombers are going to have a huge advantage because everybody's going to be hitting their second shots from the fairway.
Which is unique because that may give somebody like Hideki that we can get into that sprays his drive a lot, but is long. if he's not playing his second shot out of the rough, he may still be in play.
And see, he seems to play well here.
Yeah. So, do you want to get into it?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, looks like it's going to be pretty windy.
Okay.
20-mile-an-hour winds pretty much every day. No real rain to speak of or anything else. But, you have to find a player that can flight that ball down or whatever they need to get that ball in the green from the fairway, because those 20-mile-an-hour winds are going to wreak havoc on you.
Okay. So let's start at the top, and we have 4 in the 5 digits. So we have the top guy this week is Justin Thomas at 11-1, then Jordan at 10-9, Ricky at 10-5, and DJ at 10-3. First question of the day: does the winner come from that group?
Oh, there's a good chance. If we were betting groups, I'd take that group for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at this, you got Spieth, who looks like he has a disadvantage because he's only played 1 event this year. Everybody else has played at least 2. So you could say he's not into.
So the only one he played Tiger's event?
Let's find out. Doesn't tell me, but I'm thinking it's the only one he's played.
I mean, I know he played that one. I don't remember him playing in Asia. Do you?
No.
Or Mexico?
No. Hero World Challenge.
Yeah. So
that's it. So that's the only thing I could say about him. Obviously, he's won here before, but he hasn't been. We don't know what he's been doing. He just got engaged. So congratulations.
I'm sure he watches.
Yes.
So
well, he actually tweeted me yesterday that he really liked the show. So thank you, Mr. Spieth. But yeah, so who knows what he's got going on in his life? Has he been practicing or has he been kind of on this vacation thing? So
that's the unique part of the whole year. Our first part of the year is how much did people actually unwind, and how much do people need to practice and get back into it before? I mean, like Hideki seems like a guy that needs to be playing to play well.
Yeah,
Patrick Reed, who's not in the field, I don't think. No, he didn't win last year for the first time in like 5 years or something.
Yeah.
But Reed seems like he needs to play to go.
Yep.
But, Ricky shows up to Mexico without playing for 5 weeks and wins the thing. So it's a unique balance of who needs some practice and competitive stuff. John Rahm, I feel John Rahm probably needs
to be
get going
in the game more than
but who knows how much private time they've been playing and
so
stuff.
Do you think, let me ask you this, do you think these players take this tournament as serious as a tournament in a month?
When they tee it up, yes, but their preparation going into it probably is not the same. It is my guess.
I'm kind of on the same page that this is a wonderful tournament to go be part of because you're in Hawaii.
And it's a nice tune-up for next week's Sony.
So yeah, that's my guess is they don't prepare for it the way they do other tournaments, but like you said, once they tee it up and it's go time, it's as if it's any other tournament.
Yeah.
So
all right, so
those top
let's
guys,
get into it. JT's 11-1. Does he have to win to justify that?
I think at 11-1 you have to be a top 3.
Top 3?
Well, we're in a short field, so 1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think. So, that's where I've been trying to guess some ownership projections. I think he's probably gonna be the lowest owned out of this group.
Oh yeah.
Because if you look at trends over the last year or so. Year and a half, 2 years ago, everybody played the top guys in fantasy golf in general in DraftKings. Yeah. And then the last year or so, the trends show that people lay off the most expensive players and go to...
They try to bring in a couple guys.
They kind of lower instead of playing the very top, stars and scrubs.
Yeah. Which
is probably not a bad thing.
No.
But if you compare this field to, say, Tiger's... hero, right? So if you take the very top guy, well, the very low guy that nobody thought would win was Charlie Hoffman, and he could have won the whole thing.
He had a chance.
So, I mean, in a field of 34, pretty sure any of these guys can show up and win.
Well, obviously, because they won last year, and that's the thing. And this one, it's hard Because, we talk a lot about, do you take an 11-1 guy with a $6,000 guy for a $17,100 combined salary? Do they average what a $16,000 salary does with two 8,000 guys?
Right.
So like this, I think you can go 11-1.
Cantlay and Shoffley in the middle, right? Those two were hot names at the end of the year last year. Do those two add up to a JT and Grayson Murray?
Well, I mean, if you just look at just DraftKings points this week, or what they have so far this year, Murray has 69 points on average, and JT has 99. So what is that? 168 they're averaging. And then you look at, who'd you say? Cantlay?
Cantlay and Xander.
Cantlay and Xander have 92 and 70. So they're right there, about the same. Now, the salary on JT and Murray is going to be $1,000 higher than Cantlay and Shoffley, but you're averaging the same fantasy points. So one could say if you average the same fantasy points,
then
let's go with that one and then save $1,000 somewhere else. But JT's averaging 100 fantasy points because he's going to win, and he has won. Those guys are averaging less fantasy points.
So JT did win last year at this tournament.
Yes.
He won 5 times last year, or 6 counting the one in the fall, something like that. So I mean, his win equity was huge last year.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, how do you not like Ricky Fowler, who showed up to 2 tournaments and finished second in Mexico and won the Hero with a unbelievable last round?
Yeah, I mean, I think Fowler's going to be the highest owned guy here, 10-5.
I like DJ a lot too. So, I'm talking around JT and Spieth and Ricky and DJ, and I don't know that you can go wrong. I mean, you're going to have to.
I think you're going to have to take one of those 4 guys to be in the money. Who knows who it's going to be? I personally feel I really like Fowler to win the tournament, but he's going to be so owned because of what he's done recently, and he's $600 cheaper.
So let's talk 2 things real quick. So the short field, first tournament back, we're excited about it, but no cut, things like that. How are you managing your bankroll? How many lineups are you running? So I typically don't do the mass entry very often. I've been better when I do 3-5 lineups, and I think I'm still in that boat. I'm just not going to enter it as many times as normal. So I think I will still have 3 lineups, have an exposure to at least one of all 4 of these guys.
Yeah.
But I will lean heavy on Ricky and JT or Dustin and JT. I think it's going to be DJ and JT are going to be my 2. But, I mean,
I'm probably going to go a different route. I'm gonna go for broke. I'm going to probably do some mass entering because I know this is typically not what you want to do in a small field event like this.
First tournament of the year, you're going to blow your entire bankroll.
I don't know about that, but
tired of losing all of the football.
Oh, I got to make my money back from NBA and the NFL. But no, what I'll probably do is I'll probably put together some lineups over the next 12 to 14 hours with, 3 or 4 lineups and see how those look. And see if I can't mass enter those in with some changes down at the bottom.
Yeah.
And play in some cash games.
So have our core 4, which we'll be doing later, and then changing the last 2 and to give you some other exposure.
Yeah, because I think it's probably a safe bet that the winner's going to come from the top 8 guys.
Well, yeah.
Because then that leaves you, 22 guys, 26 guys left. So I'll probably make 10 lineups, maybe 20, but 10 lineups at least, with a combination of all those 8 guys, and then fill in the rest in hopes that one of those not just hits the money but wins. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a win in a GPP event this week.
Yeah. So what I think I'm going to do is, instead of mass entering, I'm going to go with 3 lineups like usual. I'm going to tighten my core to 4 guys probably, honestly, and ride them in 60-80%, and some of my probably 2 of my core guys being 100% of my lineups.
So you probably have a 2-person core in this and 100% be okay.
Yeah. So that's where I'm going to run. All right, let's go to the next run, and we'll kind of recap that because I think our winner's going to come out of there probably, and we'll give you a little bit more. So, I want to go back, though, because I think DJ's length here
could be huge. With the fairways wide open, he can get up there and just crush it
and
with
then
no penalty to happen. And you saw last year at the end of the season, he's been working on his wedges like crazy.
I mean...
So
and if he misses and they're being resort style greens, how hard are they to really putt? I mean, I think he could really be a force.
Yeah, but he could be poised to make a big. I
don't know. Everybody, I guess, could be though. So
I mean, that's the thing. One thing we have to remember: every one of these players has won.
Yeah,
and that's why they're here.
All right. So Hideki at 9.8. Rahm at 9.5, Brooks at 9.4, and Leishman at 9,000.
So I don't like the pricing on Hideki at 9.8 because I feel like he's fallen off the earth there for a while, but I like Hideki at this tournament.
Yeah.
So I like him. I don't know if I'll take him at 9.8. I'd rather see him switch with Leishman at 9.
I don't know. I think Leishman kind of has...
I mean, I don't think Leishman should be at 9.8, but I'd rather have Hideki at 9 and Leishman at 9.
I will have one guy out of this group, and it'll either be Rahm or Koepka. I'm not touching Hideki or Matsuyama, and this is where I just need...
same person.
I mean, Hideki or Leishman, sorry. I just need to pare my core down, and I can't have both Rahm and Koepka, I don't think. So I think Rahm will be more popular, so I'll probably lean toward Koepka.
Yeah.
And that's just because at some point in a GPP in this sort of field, you're going to have to go with the lower ownership guy.
Yep.
So my guess is I'll have a couple shares of Koepka. Do you have anything you want to say about any of those guys?
I mean, I like all of them. I think they will all have an opportunity to win this tournament in one way or another. But I think you're going to see a lot of people try to play your contrarian play and start here, and maybe skip Spieth and Fowler and Johnson and Thomas, and start with maybe a Rahm, Koepka stack. So I think there's going to be a lot of ownership in there. So I think you need to be careful. I think I'm going to try a couple lineups with Hideki because I think people are going to stay away from him because they still have last year's bad taste in their mouth with him.
Where did he finish at the Hero? I know that first day he was awful, and then he kind of made a comeback and made it respectable.
T5. Hero was T5, the HSBC was T50, and the CIMB was T5.
Wow. So I don't know. His bad rounds just stick out because they're so bad.
Well, they're very bad.
I mean, he was, +4 or 5 after 6 holes at the Hero? And he comes back all the way to the T5?
Shot a 71, a 66, a 72, a 68.
Man. All right.
So, yeah, so that's the reason I'll take him is his ownership. I don't think he's going to be as highly owned as some of the other players in that group.
The next group would be the Brian Harmon, Patrick Cantlay, Xander, Kevin Kisner, Daniel Berger, and Pat Perez grouping of 8,000.
I mean, I see one guy in here I really like. I'm afraid he's going to be too highly owned, but it's my boy Pat Perez.
See, I don't think so. I think if you think about it, the way I'm thinking about it is he won in the fall swing when not as many people were playing. And the people that play the base tournaments remember how Cantlay has never missed a cut yet in the last year. So he was getting a ton of love at the end of the year. And Xander was on the run of all runs at the end of the year and won the Tour Championship. And I think those two guys are going to be probably chalkiest behind maybe Ricky this week.
Maybe, I don't know. Perez has went, he went 4 for 4 this year in making cuts. And
yeah.
Had some pretty good showings.
He won in...
With 2 top 10s.
Yeah.
He's got more top 10s than Justin Thomas.
Well,
and he's $8,000. So, and his fantasy points per round are per tournament is 4 points behind, 3.5 points behind Thomas. So, I could see him people looking at this and saying, okay, because I think a lot of people look at this and just look at the fantasy points and say, okay, he's 8,000, but he's averaging 95 points.
Yeah,
that's the go-to bet right there. Because you got Shoffley, who's 8.5 and only 70. You have Cantley, who's 92.3 fantasy points at 8.6. So I could see them looking at Perez and going, oh, well, he's 95 at 8,000. I'm taking him because they think and correlate 95.5 to 8,000. That's a better pick. I really like him in this tournament. I don't think because he's a little crazy off the tee. If he's taking driver, he's playing with
that's the thing. I like him a lot better when he has to use the 3-wood off the tee. But here at Kapalua, the fairways are so wide, it may not matter.
It may not matter, and if he can get that little extra bit of distance with that driver, not have to be worried about being penalized with the rough, this might fit him well. So I think I'll definitely have him in some lineups.
I won't have any Harmon. I don't like Kisner here. I love Kisner, but I don't like him here. I think you got to be longer than he is. And Daniel Berger burns me every time I pick him. So
I know.
I'm not ever.
I like him as
he's
a
the
golfer.
Julio Jones of golf, where he'll go off if you don't have him.
Yeah, if you don't have him, he's going to
he's
score. He's probably going to win. If you have him, he's probably going to cut in a non-cut event.
Yeah, so I'm not going to have Berger, although I could probably talk myself into him really, but I'm not going to. So,
No.
All right.
Sevens.
You want to name all the sevens?
Yeah, let's do the sevens, and then we'll do the rest after that.
Russell Henley, Kevin Chappell, Cam Smith, Brennan Steele, Patton Kazire, Jason Duffner, Austin Cook, and Bryson DeChambeau.
So
my 100% in every lineup, lock him in until they raise his salary to an ungodly amount, will be Austin Cook, and hope that people don't know him because they didn't play this fall. But he came off the web.com, played really well, won already this year. He's a stud. I will have him in 100% of my lineups.
I like it. I can't argue that. I've been looking pretty heavily at Cameron Smith.
Mm-hmm. Just won in Australia.
Just won in Australia, third at 9 Bridges and a T5 at CIMB Classic. So
he played well on the European Tour this year. He didn't play very well when he came over to the States, but I think he's a young guy that's going to play. I like Cam Smith a lot.
Yeah,
and a lot of people I feel don't know him.
And that's the thing, at this price tag, I don't need him to win. And what's crazy, out of 3 tournaments, he's got 3 tournaments, and the most anybody else has is 4, it looks like. And he's averaging the second, looks at a couple guys at 5, averaging the second highest DraftKings points.
Nice.
At 112, and who's it, Fowler with the win is 128. So at $7,600, I'm going to probably throw a Cam Smith in there a couple times to see how he does.
I like Cam Smith a lot.
And I like your Austin Cook bet. That's not a bad bet at all, and I probably will have him for sure in a few lineups because he's been playing great. So
in the Daniel Berger category is another President's Cupper and Kevin Chappell. I just don't. I never pick him when he goes right,
you never know
and he's really
sometimes
on a roller coaster. I think he's a boom or bust, and I think there's just better values around, and he's a pretty popular player too. So Russell Henley hasn't been really good for a while. I'm not going to touch him. Pat Kazire, Brendan Steele, Duffner, I think are all just kind of short hitters and don't go low enough to score enough points. So I won't touch any of those. The intriguing guy down here is, as always, is DeChambeau, and
he's going to finish first or last. I think that's where he finishes.
Well, I got another guy a little bit below me, or below here, that I think is in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean he does. If he shows up with the good stuff, he has the game to.
Oh sure.
But is he going to show up? I mean,
we don't know anything he's been doing.
He could be in a laboratory redoing his swing again.
And that's the thing. I think he's somebody for me to feel comfortable picking. I have to see 2 or 3 tournaments in a row of him doing something to say, okay, I can trust Bryson to do something. Right now, I don't think I can trust him.
Here's the I like the fact that there's no cut, so
he's got 4 rounds to do what he can.
But I also think, next week at Sony, he'll have better value with the guys that are around him than in this tournament. 100%. So I think you could use him, but just be wary of him. But I think he's a better bet to play next week or at a full field event.
Yeah, I think this is one where it's kind of a wait and see. Let's wait and see how he does this week. If he's on form, he's your go-to guy next week because he's probably going to be, what is he priced at this week?
7,000 even.
7,000 even. He's probably going to be, if I were to guess, 7.4, 7.6, somewhere in there next week. And at that price, with that, from what I can remember, that field, he's probably going to be a pretty good bet.
Yeah.
If he plays well this week.
Yeah.
If he finishes last, I'll probably not board that train yet.
Okay.
Everybody else in that, I don't see anything. The only other guy I see in there that maybe, I don't think so. Brendan Steele, he did win the Safeway.
Yeah, but that was back
in October.
Yeah.
Like I said, the problem is, who knows what these guys have been doing?
Right.
They might not have played any serious golf, and if he hasn't played since October.
Well, I know that he did go to Asia and played after that win, but
yeah, he went to where'd he go? CIMB. Yeah, CIMB and took 13th, but that was still in October.
Yeah.
So
it's 2 months ago.
Yeah, who knows what he's been doing since then?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go down. I feel like if you're going to go one or definitely 2 of the top guys, you're going to have to go down in the 6,000.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't find it as scary as most weeks. Now
no,
maybe
because there's no cut.
Well, but also, these are all good guys that can win because they did win.
They have.
So that's where I think down here you can sprinkle a guy or 2 here or there. I'll throw out a couple names and I'll let you go with a couple names.
Okay.
I think the safe guys down here are Swatford, Kyle Stanley, maybe even Hadwin. If you're looking for really good upside guys, but could come in dead last, you're looking at Siwoo Kim or Grayson Murray.
I would have thrown Vegas in there.
Oh yeah, well, I just don't get it. I think he only shows up to Canada, and this is in Hawaii.
Yeah, not quite the same. But Vegas is really long, just wild off the tee.
Yeah.
So it might fit him. Down here, I think in a lot of my lineups, I'm going to have to figure out who I want to take down here. Mm-hmm. I don't know who I really want yet.
In cash, I'm going to go with Swatford and Stanley. In GPP, I'm going to go with Siwoo and Murray.
I definitely like the Stanley. In a lot of my models that I use on Fantasy National, Stanley pops in a lot of them. Wesley Bryan is not horrible. Stroud is not the worst. But I'm definitely not taking Vegas. He's at the bottom of the list for me. Swafford is getting close to the bottom. Blix, no. So it would have to be Stanley or Wesley Bryan. And that's just a shot in the dark. And that's what I'm doing the mass entry for. Because when I get down here, I'm going to have to pick one guy. And if there's 6 or 7 of them, 10 of them, I just pick 10. I do 10 lineups and put 10 different guys in there and hope.
Okay. You ready to make our cores and pick winners?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Let's hear your top core guy. We're going to go. So if you're new with us, we do this long segment where we talk about most of the field, and then we pick 4 guys that you can build a lineup around, and then you can kind of branch out your last 2. What we do is like to make it to where you can stack them all in a lineup and not just give you, 4 top guys that some other shows might give you, and it doesn't do you any good because you can't put them in a lineup together.
Right.
So what we do is do 4 each, and then we also make another video called a Core 4 where we give it all to you, just that, in 4 minutes, really quick and easy. So if you don't have time to look at all this next week, you can always look at our Core 4 videos and get your picks from there.
Yeah.
So let's hear your top guy. I assume you're going to go top first.
I can go from the bottom, but
it doesn't matter.
I'll go from the top. My one top guy that will probably be in, I would say, 80% of my lineup is going to be Justin Thomas.
Okay.
Purely based on ownership.
Yeah, I'm going to also go with Thomas at the top. I like Thomas. Like we said, we like all 4 of the top guys.
Yeah, you
but
can't not like them.
But I'm going to go to hook my train or my lineups or whatever it is to Justin Thomas this week and go from there.
Okay.
Where are you going from there?
So this is going to be a little bit of a shocker, but I am going to go Hideki.
Really? I like it.
All based on the fact that I hope people still remember him sucking at the end of the year, and this is with a 34-man field, you're going to have to do something a little bit different than what everybody else is doing, and I think he's going to be very low owned.
I think I'm going to stack let's go to Austin Cook. He's going to be in 100% of my lineups.
Okay.
So we're going to put him in there and then kind of feel like where we're going to go from there based on what we have left and things.
Okay.
But Austin Cook will be in 100% of my lineups. Like I said, he's a great value at this point, and I'll play him every week until they put him at $8,000.
Okay. I agree. Austin Cook, I don't know that he'll be in 100% of my lineups, but he'll be in several of my lineups, and he will be in my core.
And then, do you have your 4th guy?
I do. It is Mr. Pat Perez. I feel like he's been playing pretty strong recently. $8,000, he's going to be... My fear is that he will be my highest owned guy.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping people, like you said, what is there, Koepka and Rahm in that same... Or no, who were you talking to? Cantley and Schauffele are in that same price category. So I'm hoping people kind of transition to them because of what they did at the end of the year. And they stay off of Perez. But I'm okay if he's well owned because I think he's going to do pretty good this weekend.
All right. Well, I'm going to go Koepka and Xander. So I'm going.
5.
No, it's JT, Cook, Koepka, and Schauffele.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to go 4 there. That takes up a little bit more of my money than I wanted. It only leaves you $69.50 left. So if you do go that high, but you're going to get, I feel, a lot of good bets with the JT and the Koepka and the Xander.
Sure.
So you're going to have to play down there in the Grayson Murray land, in the
Wesley Bryan,
Kyle Stanley, even DeChambeau. You're going to have to play down there if you pick all 4 of those guys, but that's the core 4 that I'm going to have this week.
I don't see a problem with it. It'll be interesting to see.
So,
who's your winner?
It's going to have to be JT.
I want to pick somebody else just because that's who I was going to say.
Well,
I
when
can
we
see
have
Spieth winning this.
I can too. Or Ricky. Or DJ.
I'll just for fun, I'll take Fowler.
Okay.
I'll go Fowler.
And even if you think Fowler's going to win, you can justify not taking him because he's going to be so popular.
That's the thing, yeah.
So even if you think he's going to win, it's not the end of the world for not picking him, and you can fade him.
If he wins and you take the 2nd or 3rd place guy,
yeah,
I think you're okay because he's going to be so owned that it's not going to do anything for you.
Yep.
But yeah, like I said, it'll be an interesting tournament to see how much these guys come out and swing for the fences with these wide fairways. Hopefully it's an interesting tournament. Like you said, birdies are going to be your main key, I think. Especially down low when you get to your bargain basement guys. If those guys can make birdies, they got 4 rounds to do it. So
and that's why I like the Grayson Murray, Siwoo, because they can get on birdie trains. Yep. Now, they can also get on bogey trains. So, I mean, buyer beware there, but that's where I'm going on my picks. You have anything else to wrap it up with?
I can't think. I think we've covered most everything, and at this point, we'll just put our entries in and sit back and watch some golf in this fine weather we got going.
Yeah. Wish we were in Hawaii instead of Indiana when it's 6 degrees outside this weekend. But want to thank you guys for tuning into the Fantasy Golf Gods podcast. Give us a like. That does go a long way. We do like to hear your comments too. So if you're excited that we're back, go ahead and write a comment and let us know. We have been working on some partnerships and some sponsorships, and we're excited to announce those over the next couple weeks. So we're excited. We're not going anywhere. We're only getting bigger and better the longer we do this thing. So I'm excited. It's going to be a great year.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I can't wait.
Got roughly 40 more weeks of golf.
Super excited.
Yeah, so I'm excited. We'll get this off and get some golf in our blood, and then we can have some real field.
Some real events
starting next week, and that's when it really gets kicking off. And then before you know, it's going to be the Masters.
I can't wait. Tiger's going to win.
Well, stay tuned. We'll argue that one then too. So until next time, have a great time.
Thanks, guys.